Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Alex and right now I am in the orchard, and as you can see I brought a fresh load of cardboard. These are really big pieces, so I'm gonna use them to smother the weeds once again. I'll go through the details of why I think it didn't work that well last time, but we'll make sure to get through these. I won't put anything on top right now. The goal of the cardboard is really just to smother the weeds, and I purchased Amazon special. They're like landscape fabric staples. I figured it's gonna work well for cardboard also, just to keep everything down so it doesn't fly away. Again, I'll explain why I'm not gonna put wood chips this time versus the last time I did it. Hopefully that'll work out. Also, I brought the post hole digger. I wanna do that test I talked about. We're gonna dig down to 3 feet. I wanna see how quickly we hit water. Because if we hit water before 3 feet, I'm gonna have to find a solution for the next set of apple trees we're going to plant, because apple trees and the pears are the ones that mind the water the least, but the cherries, the plums, and the apples, not a big fan of having their feet wet the whole time. So we might have to find a solution, which might be to build a little mold to bring them up before we plant them so that they have dry feet. Probably should have done this before I planted, but this is like the test area. They're the first trees. Right now everything's growing really well, so I'm very happy with that. And also, let's go take a look at our cherry trees and see what's going on there. So about a month ago, we started seeing amazing growth from the cherry. You can see here, this branch here is new growth. This branch here is new growth. And unfortunately though, it got kind of cannibalized by the Japanese beetle. Now, I want to stay as spray-free and pesticide free as I can, because I want to keep this as natural as I can and trying to respect the permaculture approach, but I also don't want to lose that tree. If you follow my shorts, you saw that I've been using soap and water spray. This is just Dawn mixed with some regular water to try and control them. This will be the 3rd application, and we can see here, here's a leftover right there from a last application. These leaves used to be filled and riddled and crawling with Japanese beetles. And right now, I can probably count maybe 5 total. So I like to give my bottle a good shake, spray it so we got some bubbles coming out, and then just make sure they're nice and foamy. And then, now, mind you, if it's full sun, you probably don't want to do this in full sun, because what happens if you put water on a leaf in full sun, it kind of acts like a magnifying glass and it will burn your leaf. But the upwards leaves here are pretty much done anyways. But look at the amount of growth the tree had. It's just beautiful. I just don't want this tree to suffer too much. Thankfully this year, it's the first year it went in the ground, so it's not going to want to do any fruit. It's going to grow. But even from a tiny branch there, we had a big shoot, which is beautiful. It's what we want to see. But the tree has to survive for the next couple of years. I watched a presentation by Stefan Sobkowiak, and he said that the Japanese beetle naturally, eventually, will get attacked by the predator, which is a fly. The thing is, I want to say this is year 1 or 2 of their infestation, and the predator needs time to build its population to control it. So hopefully this tree won't die before then. And here we have, so the one we just looked at was the Black Tartarian. This is the Stella. So make sure we get in there. Also, the other reason I want to get to the cardboard today is there's another forecast for severe thunderstorm. So we're getting so much water, heat, sun, that everything is growing so well, which is good and bad, because that means the weeds are also growing really well. This one has a bit more. So let me finish spraying that, and then before the end of the video, I'll come back and we'll take a look. Another thing I've been fighting are these darn ferns, which are like rhizome based. So that means they have offshoots horizontally just underneath the ground, and they just pop everywhere. And also these wild strawberries, while they're not, I guess they are rhizome based, I guess it's considered rhizome, they throw these shoots out, and then this pops a flower, which you can see roots are sprouting, and then it just plants itself, and then it keeps hopping everywhere. And then you have these long vines, and they all have little roots. So these are a problem for me. One thing I do want to get eventually is an edger. An edger is basically a blade that spins vertically that you pass, and I'm just going to go and follow the beds, and it's going to cut any rhizome that's trying to get in the bed. The other problem with the cardboard I installed is where there is cardboard, it's not too bad, except for like the strawberries that are jumping on top of the mulch. Plus this mulch is so old, it's a thriving environment for everything, which was the opposite of what I tried to do. And anytime there's a junction with the cardboard, this is where everything came back up. So I needed at least 6 inches, 8 probably being better, of overlap to avoid this. So you can see where the shape of the cardboard, where it is. And there's a connection in the middle there. Because the cardboard's doing a good job. I mean, it's not as bad as in between there where there is no cardboard. But I'm hoping with that big cardboard I brought that I can cover the whole area and then just smother everything, and then don't give them a chance to come through and then compete with the fruit shop. It's only been a couple of minutes and you can already see that the ones I sprayed, I think from what I understood, is it blocks their pores and they suffocate basically. I didn't have to shake anything, remove anything, I just sprayed them and then they fell. And same with the other cherry tree. Right now I don't see anything, which is excellent. Every time I've came back, there's been less and less of them. So hopefully this tree will get a chance to grow a bit before the end of the growing season and look lovely for next year. So Claudia and I just purchased a mini split air conditioning unit. It's amazing, it works really well. I'm not doing any publicity for this specific mini split, but if you don't have the money for a full AC system that's attached to your HVAC, or you just want to cool a couple rooms, or you want to do it yourself, this was fairly straightforward. With two people, it took an entire afternoon to set up, and it's so much more comfortable now in the house with the AC going. Plus, came in a giant double corrugated cardboard, so I am not going to throw this away, I'm going to use it. Now, Claudia and I have decided that in the future we will use landscape fabric to cover the whole rows, because finding big cardboard like this is getting complicated. We'll probably continue using that method for the garden because it just works so well. But for now, this will only be used to smother the weeds for this summer. Ideally, in the fall or early spring, we're going to buy a giant roll of landscape fabric and lay down our rows so that we can start the smothering process to try and reduce the work we'll have to do next year to fight the weeds. So I'm not going to bother removing all the stickers, all the tape, or the copper staples, because this will not stay in the ground permanently. So this will get lifted once we have the landscape fabric. So don't leave nasty comments saying, Alex, polluting. I'm like, no, these will come back up, don't worry. Don't worry. And funny enough, I was watching a video by Farmer Jesse, No-Till Growers. And apparently, if you want to go organic, you are allowed to use cardboard, but only cardboard with unpainted, and only allowed black ink, interestingly enough. All right, we'll see how big this gets. So the goal is to keep this as if I can keep this in only 2 pieces, and that's good, because again, seams are our enemy. So I'm just gonna weed a bit around this. I mean, look at the amount of roots and rhizomes and ugh. Here I was thinking I was doing a good thing with, oh, that's dead. With the mulch we used, I'm sure the mulch is improving the soil for the shrubs, but it's also improving the soil for the weeds. Fairly simple, I won't bore you with the details. I'm just gonna weed around the shrubs and the tree. Try to keep the cut as slim as I can. And we'll go from there. All right, just finishing up here. I'll go around and do the other ones. It's starting to rain, so I'll put the camera away. And I'll come back once we're done with that. I'm all done installing all the cardboard. This is what I'm going for. Basically, this is one giant piece, and where there's an overlap, I use leftover cardboard to just close that off. There's a tiny bit of an overlap there that I'm sure some of the ferns and weeds will come through, but everything that's around the main things is nice and closed. Honestly, I don't think the trees need this as much as the shrubs, because the trees, the roots are deeper. I don't think they're competing for the surface nutrients the same way that the shrubs are. Shrubs and weeds, in my mind, don't go well together, so I really want to protect the shrubs. Did the same thing here, especially with this blackberry that's not having a good time. The only problem is I ran out of cardboard. Like always, I'm always thinking, I've got plenty, these are huge, but started to run out. So what I decided to do is to simply protect the shrubs. Weeded around everything, protected them, put the cardboard in, pinned it down, and then make sure that the shrubs are the ones being protected, especially the ones that are not doing so well. And then the trees are easier to weed, it's easier to cut around them, and I just don't have enough cardboard right now. I don't know if you remember, in a previous video I said that the only thing that didn't seem to really grow was the regular pears. It seems like it hurt me, because we are seeing some very nice growth now from the pears. So I'm extremely happy with that. It's starting to rain. It's uncomfortably warm outside. This took longer than I thought, like most projects do. So what I think I'll do is I'll keep that digging a hole to see how deep the water table here is for another video, so I can really make sure I focus on it. Ideally, I'd like to dig one near the small apple tree that I was the most worried about, and one more on this side to see if there's a difference, if any. What I could also do is check different spots on the property and see where the water table is highest and where it is lowest, to try and decide which trees will be planted where. Otherwise, soon is also going to be a mowing maintenance day once again for the orchard. I feel like I did it just a week and a half ago, but I really want to get on top of things until I can put the landscape fabric and have that edger to try and keep the weeds at bay. I'm just going to have to stay on top of it, because this year is establishing the roots and growth. This is what I want. Healthy plants, so that hopefully next season they start producing some fruits and we can enjoy some fresh fruit from the orchard. If you like this content and you want to keep following along, please make sure to subscribe. Otherwise, comment down below What kind of problems do you have? Are you also having problem with the Japanese beetle? The soap is doing its job, but I gotta come back every time and spray it, and the deer flies are still in full force. Not the most pleasant thing to do, but hopefully eventually those flies will start to boom in population and start to control the Japanese beetle population, because we are losing a lot of stuff to them. Thankfully, they're not interested at all in the conifers. It seems like they're only talking to Rosaceae family, if I'm saying that right. So for sure apples and cherries that they're targeting. My mother-in-law's roses, the rose bushes, were completely destroyed by the Japanese beetle. So something to watch out for. Otherwise, leave me a like, comment down below, and thank you so much for watching. Take care.